Today our topic is Introduction to Ethics. So let's define ethics first. Ethics is the basically set of rules of behavior based on ideas about what is morally good and bad. So it is an area of study that deal with the ideas about what is good and bad behavior. So in ethics we will see what is good and what is bad related to our behavior or our action. And it is a branch of philosophy dealing with what is morally right or wrong. Before going further, let's let's mention some of the universal ethical standards which have been applicable or true in all over the world. So, number one is trustworthiness. Be honest, don't deceive, cheat, or steal. Do what you say you will do. So you should be trustworthy. People should be trusting you. So anything, you should be honest. You should not deceive people. Don't cheat people. Don't steal from others, and don't be hypocrite. What you want to do, say what you are going to do, or when you say something that you will do it, then do it. The next one is respect. Yes. Treat others how would you like to be treated. So we have heard this before that respect other people because we want respect also. So what you want from other, give to others as well. So and be considerate. Consider people when someone is talking with you or someone is give them the attention or give them the time, and be tolerant or of the differences. If someone differ from you, don't abuse, don't use force, respect their opinion. So it is not respect only their physically but also respect their opinion, and their anything they will say, respect it even though you don't like it, but respect it there. Then the next one is responsibility. uh, Preserve, uh, be self-controlled and self-disciplined, be accountable for your choices. So as we know, responsibility means anything you're supposed to do, you have to do it. Anything assigned to you and you accepted it as that you will do it, so be responsible. And then you should be accountable. You have control over yourself. You should be disciplined. So you spend your life in any role as a responsible person, as a student, as a brother, as a sister, as a son or daughter, as a parents. In the life your role will be changing. As a professional, you all should be responsible about your job, about your duties, about your task. And the next one is fairness. Provide equal opportunity. Be open-minded. Don't take advantages of other. So this is the fairness. Fairness means don't be biased. uh, Provide everyone equal opportunity. uh, be open-minded, listen to everyone. Don't take advantage of others. Don't exploit people. Be fair. If someone is weak, don't take the advantage of that. If someone has weakness, don't take the advantages of that. So be fair. Caring, like you say, be kind, be compassionate. Compassion should be there. You should be very kind, loving, likable, liking people, express gratitude. Yeah, this is very important that you say thank you. If someone is giving you favor, you should be very thankful. Then citizenship. So this is the rest of the things are like your personal things. Then citizenship is the contribute to the community, protect the environment, cooperate whenever feasible. So you should be working together with people to have the betterment of the society. Protect the environment as much as you can do. Don't make this your streets dirty, or roads, or places where you visit. Contribute to community. Yes, if voluntary you can do something. So this was basically universal ethical standards which are true all over the world. In anywhere, if you go to Pakistan, if you go to USA, if you go to England, if you go in Africa, anywhere you go, you have to follow these things. Should be your basic fundamental attributes of a good person. Let's go back to the ethics which we have defined in the previous slides in the beginning of my lecture. So uh, we have some questions to ask. So question number one is, one makes an act morally right or wrong? A question of conduct. So this is question of conduct, that this our conduct is right or wrong. What makes a person or something good or bad? So that is the conduct. And then the next question is, what is the characteristics of a good thing, or what is the characteristics of the bad thing? A question of value. Then how to draw the correct conclusion, do right decision about what we ought to do, action, or what kind of personality we ought to be. So the next question is that how we will come to the conclusion, or how can we say that this is right decision or not right decisions, what should ought to be do action, and what kind of personality we should have. So question number 1 and 2 are the theoretical or conceptual question, and the question number 3 is the practical question about moral reasoning. So the first two are based on the principles which we will learn in our life in the ethical subjects. We learn from the different places, from our religion, from our society, like we have discussed in the another previous lecture. So but the question number 3 is the practical question about our moral reasoning, that what and the value system what we have. So this is the three basic questions we ask in the when we are talking about the ethics. Characteristics of ethical issues we have already discussed in our previous lecture, so I'm going to skip this, because this is the same slide I've explained there when we were talking about the general introduction to the ethics. So now let's uh, talk about the moral theories. So these are the principle of morality. So what is good and what is not good? Their theories are basically principles. So a moral theory consists of a set of moral principles. These principal theories specify the condition under which an action is morally right or wrong, or what makes a person or something good or bad. Theoretical question, in the previous slide we have discussed question number 1 and question number 2. These theories, so these morality theories basically give us the answer to the two questions we have asked about our action, our personality. So these theories provide you base for the good or bad, right or wrong. This purport in their intention is to guide our moral reasoning to solve or answer the question number 3. So question number 1 and question number 2 is basically based on the theories, and the third question, that is kind of practical question, is also based on our principle plus our personality, or plus our the environment in which we are making the decisions. Uh, in this slide, we are going to see the ethics and the moral theories, how they are related. So, like these three questions we have already talked about. What makes an act morally right or wrong? A question of conduct. What makes a person or something good or bad? A question of value. And how do we draw the correct conclusion, do right decisions about what we ought to do, action, or what kind of person? So one or two questions are theoretical and conceptual, and the third one is the practical. So here we say moral theories consist of set of moral principles. These principle theories specify the condition. So I basically these are the combination of both slides we have studied separately. So again, so these are the three questions, and which the question number 1 and 2 is answered by the moral theories, and the last one is based on uh, these principles. So what actually we do. So basically it's a repetition of two this I put together, so you have idea that how what part of ethics is answering to the what part of ethics questions. So not just say what moral theories are, as we know, together with facts about different moral situations, moral rules that guide the morality of specific kind of action could be derived. So together with the facts about an individual case, we can further judge whether an individual act is morally right or wrong, or whether a person or something good or wrong. So basically moral theories are telling us that in what situation, in under what fact, under what kind of conditions we should do the decisions or reach to the decisions or make the decision what is right and what is wrong. Here we will make a framework that and which will tell us the structure of moral action. So there are three things. We have divided this structure into three things: person, action, and consequences. Like in English grammar, there is one is subject, one is verb, and one is object. Same thing is here in structure of moral action, is one who is doing the things, what he's doing, and what is the result of those things. So let's see one by one. Person, what they make a person morally good, that is question. Be courteous, kind, or so on. So who should be morally good? Is it courteous or is it kind? Like we have discussed the universal ethics. So one person should have, the person has, so this is basically related to the person who is doing the action. So do the motives, character, or the intention of a person matter in deciding whether an action is right or wrong? So we will see, okay, who made this decision? So then we will say, okay, if that guy is, and if we know the person, we know what kind of decision he's making. If he's honest, he's fair, he's kind, he's tolerant, so we can understand what kind of decision he will make. And if in case sometime he or she makes some wrong decision, we will not doubt his or her intention. So we will say, because that person is honest, he is always doing honest decisions, so he must be honest person. So his decision, we will accept the decision because this guy is very fair. So we will accept the decision because we will say if he is making decision, he is a right person. So the next is action. What makes an action morally right? Should the motive, character, or the intention of the actor be taken into consideration, like I explained to you already. So we will we will judge uh, action by the who's making the action. So who's the actor, who's the character, what is their motive? So like I told you, if we think that, for example, one teacher is always fair, and if he gives you less marks in a quiz or in assignment, so you accept it because you think that this teacher is always fair, so this must be the right decision, this must be your right grade. So this is the another example of judging moral action of some person. Then last is the consequence, the result. What constitutes a good or bad consequences? So sometime we will study later on that what is the result of that action. So we always we like in the beginning we say who made the action, what is the action, and what is the consequences. So when we judge a moral action, we judge these three things. So who made that, what he did or what was the action, and then what happened to the result of that. If I'm if I grade you less or grade you less, and then next time you work harder and become get the better grade in the next paper or next subjects, so it's mean my action justify. But if you become demotivated and you just, okay, I'm doing everything but sir is not giving us the marks, so that will be the negative consequences. So maybe then for this reason sometime we give more marks to the students, so motivate them to that they will do next time better. So this is also a moral decision, that if even your writing was not good, but I gave you good marks, and my intention was that the next time you do better. So this is like, but ethically maybe it is wrong, because I'm giving you more marks, but you don't deserve it. So these are all things that we are discussing in a moral action, when we are thinking, when we are deciding it is right or wrong. So there, now let's talk about the types of, or kind of major moral theories. One is consequence-based theory. The other one is deontological theories, and the last one is the virtue-based approaches theory. So let's read or discuss one by one. We are always in the all subject, we are going to discuss this one by one in everywhere. So consequence based theory: of all the things a person might do at a given moment, the morally right action is one with the best overall consequences. Like I explained you, I will give you more marks, so you will get motivated. So but if I give you less marks, you will be demotivated. So what I will decide that, okay, I will give you more marks, so next time you do better. So I will, when my decision is based on the consequence, not on the right or wrong. Right or wrong mean, if you have fairly, if you have less, you didn't write properly, I should give you less marks, but I will not give you less marks because I don't want to demotivate you. Then deontology theories: the morality of action should be based on whether the action itself is right or wrong under a series of rules, rather than based on the consequences. So, like when we are, the results are, if results are computerized, so we put a principle or a program computer that, if like you have multiple choice, so if you are wrong, you are wrong. If you are right, because we will make the decision according to the principle. We will not say what will be the consequences. You will be motivated, or you will be demotivated, or you will be failed, or you will be maybe you will drop from school or college. So these are the, the first one is we make decision on consequence. The second one is we make the decision on the principle. Then virtue based approach: virtue is a trait. What the mean of virtue is: a trait or a quality that is deemed to be morally good, and thus is valued as the foundation of principle and good moral beings. So virtue is mean a quality, a trait, a good thing in you, and all the decisions or all the principles are based on that. For example, honesty is the best policy, so everything is based on that virtue. Punctuality is good thing, speaking truth is good thing. So all these other things are based on the virtue. Virtue ethics is a broad term for theories that emphasizes the role of character and virtue in moral philosophy, rather than either doing one's duty or acting in order to bring about good consequences. So you don't do things in virtue, you don't do good things that people will say, oh, you did good, or its consequences are good. You will be, it is basically is a god fearing things you do. Even if you are alone, you will not do anything bad. Even you have opportunity to do something, take the advantage of other people or advantage of things, but due to your virtue, you are honest, you don't do that because you think this is not right. Even, for example, during your exams, when teacher go out, you don't cheat. Even you have opportunity to cheat and to get better marks, but you don't do, because this is not your virtue. Your virtue is honesty and fairness. So I hope you understand the difference between these theories. So while you are doing moral action, or your actions are decided about these three things. One is what will be the outcome. Second is, if you have to make decisions, you open the book and you say, okay, this is right and this is wrong, and I will do this right decision. The third one is, you will do, you know basically third one is very close to the second one. So you do the things according to the virtue, what virtue you have, so you do make decision according to that. Since we talk about the virtues, so let's see what are the, these are the, few of the virtues. There are many virtues, but these are like, I put on one slide, which are like, uh, you know so you can add more. You can be, uh, add more, and you can make a list of, go to Google and you can find like hundreds of virtues. So these are like 12 virtues. So number one is courage. So this is bravery or valor, temperament or temperance, self-control or restraint, liberally, your big heart, charity and generosity, then magnificence, your radiance, your joy de devoir, cheerfulness, pride, self-satisfaction, honor, respect, reverence, administration, I'm saying, admirations, good temper, calmness, level headedness, friendliness, then your truthfulness, then wit, sense of humor, meaningful. You should be, humorous, but not hurting someone. It should be meaningful, and nothing should be absurd. Uh, uh, Friendship, yeah, you should be people, you should have friendship with the people, and people should trust you. Justice, impartiality, even handedness and fairness. So see, these are the few of the virtues. You can add to this list many, and but for example, you just sit down and try to find out that what are the 10 best virtue I have. This is kind of your, see that, and then go and check with the, you can Google it, or you can check a survey that what are the top 10 virtues people have. So this way you can see you are good or you are not good. You can see yourself, you can check yourself as well. uh, we are, in the previous lecture we also the practicability of this ethics theory. So here this is a thing that theoretical ethics versus practical ethics. This is always discussion. Even when I start teaching ethics, my students are always raising the objections. Sir, you are teaching us this ethics, but in practical life these are not applicable, or things like that. So and this is always a discussion in this world, I think, since ethics came into this, that doing it is just academic. In practical life, they don't have any, merit. So let's see what they are saying. Theoretical ethics, theoretical ethics versus practical ethics. The practical ethics is meant to concern substantive moral issues facing many of us each day, such as life, you know, and climate change, hanging, and there are many, like, in and practic and that project we are talking about. We will talk about this practical ethics world is facing, our society is facing, or we are facing. Then we will decide that what should be right and what shouldn't be right, and we will argue for and we will argue against. The subject of normative or theoretical ethics is the more abstract principle that might enable us to make decisions about these practical issues. So the theoretical is mean pure, perfect. What should be, what ought to be, normative, what should be the normal things we should doing that. But sometime, like I always talk, according to your book, you have to do this, but sometime you have to go beyond that, or go away from that, or deviate that, because we are thinking consequences. We are thinking in a broader sense, what will be the impact of these things. So these all things are, we have to consider in practical when we are dealing with the practical issue. Like I gave you child labor example. I gave you a retirement age. I give you like uh, equal opportunity things, at workplace. These are all things are basically very good, but practically maybe they are not very very applicable, or they are not that kind of, so we deviate. And for this reason, our theoretical ethics, of course, we take the our strength from theoretical ethics, but in practical, when we will, so we will mold this little bit. For this reason, sometimes people justify their actions, even they, and they're saying, okay, ethically or moral wise it is good, because they have their own reasoning or arguments to make their action ethical or morally right. Practical ethics involve taking these more general principles and applying them to specific area of human life, like medicine, business, our relationship with the environment, reproduction, war, and so on. So again, like I explained you before, practical ethics we take involves taking some more general principles. So we have less rigidity. We are not very strict on principles. We some, like I use the word mold, maybe it's a negative word, but we change, we adjust. We will think that so, like, in our religion, if there's an issue something, and we sit together all the scholars and create a ijtihad, mean, and creating, because maybe this situation was not before there when our holy books were written. So this is things you will create a new decision about that, but the decisions based is on the principles. So this theory based conception of practical ethics is sometimes criticized and insensitive and excessively abstract. So for this reason, people are, like I already told you, people say molding, people mold the principle according to their own needs. So they change the principle when they become hypocrite. They have like double standards. So these are all things are this is all criticism we do on practical ethics. So we are saying, they have principal ethics, and then they have a practical ethics. So they don't match basically, or people are changing their ethics. They are saying they are ethical, but they take the like U-turns or other turns. So this is the way, sometime it happens. It will be really criticized, like, that they are very insensitive, mean they are not taking care of those ethical principle which the ethical theories are explaining or narrating. uh, Theoretical and applied ethics are inquiry can you occur in many levels of thoughts according to one's focus. There are two main types of ethical inquiries: theoretical ethics and applied ethics. So theoretical ethics is concerned with the understanding the nature of ethics, ethical language, and ethical reasoning. So basically, in theory, this is like you say theory. We have to study the theoretical ethics with concern with the understanding the nature of ethics, ethical language, and the uh, ethical reasoning. So this we basically we study what is written about ethics. So it is called theoretical ethics. uh, Bottom up approach we used in also in management and in other very social issues, that is a case based study. Basically, case to case, we take a case and we see what happened. For example, in business management, we teach, most of the teachers, they don't teach from the books. They just give you the case, and are some cases which are already decided. Even in law, the lawyers, the student of the law, they go and study all these cases, that this was the case and what was the judgment was done. So then they say, according, then they study it, analyze it, that according to which principle of the law this thing was decided, according to the which. And then same thing in the ethical decisions or moral decisions, you will see that which the judge or the person who has decided this case, what are the base of that. So case based study approach is this: start with an obvious, real or hypothetical case where we have strong institution and consider judgment that is, it is morally right or wrong. Like I explained you, you take a case and see how it was decided. That analogical reasoning mean same kind of reasoning. For example, in law, and in also when we reason, we say, okay, in the similar case this decision was made, so you should do the same decision for me. For example, if I, to one student, I will increase his or her marks, then the other student will come, sir, we have the same case, he did this thing same, and we, so this is the kind of things you take analogical, means similar reasoning. So then compare it with the problematic case that is structurally similar, and then draw the same calculation. Like I give you a very good example. If I give marks to someone, so you say bring it his or her paper SSC, sir, then I have to give you, or I have to tell you that no, it is not similar, it was. So these are the argument. And same thing happened in the court, in the court of justice. So liar bring the cases which are already decided, and they think they are similar to that, so they will give to judge see, this was the precedent mean the things already happened according to the. So sometimes judge accept it, and sometimes judge say no, it is different, it is not analogical, it has not similarity. So these are the different way approaches to do the moral decision. So this is another approach of doing the moral decisions, which is called anti-theory approach. So cases have their own biases. This gives us a very crucial criterion for evaluating moral theories. A moral theory is accepted if it can make sense and be compatible with our various intuitively appealing beliefs and ideas are firmly held judgment about morality. So sometimes we do, we keep the theory aside and we do the decision according to the condition. And what is intuitive appealing mean, what it is looking, what is intuition, how we can do this thing. So what is anti-theory approach? Is anti-theory approach, which is also called the moral particularism. Like its name tells us that particularism mean, selective, morality. So particularism is a theory in meta-ethics that there are no moral principles, and that moral judgment is determined by relevant factors in a particular context. This stand in stark contrast to other prominent moral theories such as deontology and consequentialism and virtue ethics. So we don't accept any of the ethics theory when we are doing a particularism moral. So I mean, we do the moral decisions how it fits, mean is a tailor made, without ignoring all the principles of ethics or morality. So we do, so no theory can meet the above criterion. So where we make, how we make the decisions, why this kind of anti-theory approach is justifiable, when there is no principle there to fit in that. This moral precepts are only rules of the thumb with lots of loopholes and exceptions. There is no theory in ethics but only approaches. So we can say that there are a lot of loopholes. Loopholes means there are a lot of ways we can circumvent this ethical theories and to make the decisions. There's no clear things, and there's also rule of thumbs, that, and then some things like the case law approach should be adopted. So it depends on case to case study. So we are just ignoring the, or we are not like that there is no moral principle, and that moral judgment is determined by relevant factors in a particular situation. It's not like and we, like I told you, we we bend the rules, we change the rules accordingly. So for this reason, in the lot of moral decisions we use the ethical theories, which are like based on principle or virtues, on situation or consequence. But here there is no rule and regulation, as long as for this reason there's a lot of criticism on this anti, because this is like particularism mean it has no precedent. It is just a particular thing. So for this reason, this is like anti. We have to study this because we understand what kind the base of the any decision or any moral judgment as a student of ethics. So let's see what kind of challenges morality is facing. So challenges to morality is egoism. Psychologically, egoism means human actions are motivated by their self-interest. So egoism is basically self-interest. So anything which suits you, that is your morality. So for this reason, this is a big challenge for the morality. So we don't follow the principles, we follow our own ego, what we think right. So then ethical egoism, one should only promote one's own interest, or it is all right for everyone to do so. So you are so self-centered, and your all decisions are there to benefit you or your people, and if someone is doing it, you know you think it is justifiable because this is egoism is your principle, and you follow that principle. Then relativism, this is another thing, which is that relativity descriptive, this called descriptive relativism, means people of different culture follow the different norms and have different conception of the goods. So this is another thing, like they say, do in the Rome like Romans do. So this is the same thing, that our morality depend upon the culture. So maybe some moral principles are right in our country, but they are not. I mean, some principles are good in our country, but they are bad in another country, or vice versa. So it is relatively. So morality is very relative term. So there are many examples you can say. If you will go somewhere, some think principle we think is bad, but in somewhere some people think like, I will give the example of alcohol. We think alcohol drinking is the worst, is bad thing, but in lot of countries drinking alcohol is not things to be a bad thing. So this is the different morality standards or morality things. So this is another challenge to the morality. Ethical relativism is what makes an act morally right or wrong, or something morally good or bad, depends on the cultural context in which the question is raised. Like I told you, in some cultures or in some society, one thing may be considered bad, but in some it will not consider bad, or so, or vice versa it happens. So sometime, like in Pakistan or in our country, coming late is a normal thing, but in some places coming late is not right. So, and ethically it depends on which society you are living. Then moral skepticism is, why should I be moral? Is impossible to give a non-question big begging answer. So we can never justify our moral beliefs and ideas. Sometimes skepticism is mean skepticism mean doubt. You are not, you are confused, you don't clear, you don't have clarity. So why should be I moral, why should, because this is, a lot of people think like that why should be I moral, why should be I honest, why should be I'm not stealing things, why should I'm not doing this thing, why shouldn't I do that things, so sometimes they think his consequence is okay, it is morally justified, morally mean it is fine. So we never justify our moral beliefs and ideas. For this reason people change their ideas, even they become atheist, they don't believe in God, or they change the religion, or they become atheist, mean they don't have any religion. So this kind of thing happens. So confusion is another thing, and lack of clarity is another thing. It is also a challenge to the morality, especially people don't understand, like a lot of young people, if they are doing any bad things, maybe they don't understand that what is the morality is, or what is the consequences, or what is, they confuse what is the, why they should be good, why they should be honest, why they should be fair. So these are all kind of things. So I think is a lack of clarity or lack of belief, uh, which uh, which which is another challenge to the morality. The next challenge to morality is moral nihilism. So, nihilism is the belief that all values are baseless and that nothing can be known or communicated. It is often associated with extreme pessimism and a radical skepticism that condemns existence. So basically this is when it is a denial, you are denying everything, you are in the mode of denial, you can say that. So you are not believing in any principle. Usually when you are desperate or depressed or pessimist, you are in very low level of your life. So you are not believing in anything, everything is good or bad for you. You do what you want to do. A true nihilist would believe in nothing, have no loyalty and no purpose other than perhaps an impulse to destroy. So like I said, rebellion, you can say, a destructive person, which has no morality. Ethical claims are either fictitious according to error theories, are neither true or false. So they don't care if it's right or wrong. They do what they want to do. They are not answerable to any reality. They're beyond reality. They don't think that they can't become like a kind of blind. There is no such thing called morality, because they don't believe in morality. For example, a moral nihilist would say that killing someone for whatever reason is neither inherently wrong or inherently right. So they will say, okay, anything they will do, they don't care. They they become like killing, killing for any reason is okay. Lying for anything is reason, doing bad thing is good, or good are things for thing. They 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 don't differentiate between good and bad. They do what they want to do that. So this is called nihilism. So nihilism is the belief that all values are baseless. So they don't believe in value. They don't believe in. They said that nothing can known or communicated. They think that nothing. They are like I will tell you, they are from another. They are basically a different kind of human beings. So this is. I think we can see a lot of people around us which have this kind of beliefs or this kind of behavior. So at the end of this chapter, we uh, we will see that if you have any question, please. This is a introduction to the ethics. We study the ethical theories, practical ethics, challenges to moralities, and a lot of other things related to this. If you have please any question, just let me know, so I will be glad to answer your question. Have a nice day. Thank you.